native doctor is the herbalist. So welcome our own put doctor now. Doctor Goke. Bolude.
Once again, good afternoon, everybody. To let you know, first of all, I am a pastor. I'm a district Christian education officer. But what I'm trying to tell you is that, and as you see me, when I was growing up, anything that has to do with leaf, I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to hear about it. So how did I come about to be taking all these things? And what I'm telling you is not that if I give people, these are the things that I use myself. And what I use is all these condiments that women use. Spices, ginger, garlic, moringa, some they call it wonder leaf, basil leaf, clove, exactly clove. So all those things. How did I come about it? Sometimes in 2018, in fact, a church started in my house, in our own house, and the church is big now. So I was the one running the church as the administrator and what have you. So I was asked to go and pioneer a church. So one of the activities for pioneering was a medical outreach. So during that medical outreach, a doctor was called. So everybody were doing tests. Then I said, pastor, designate pastor, come and do your test. I said, no, what do I need test for? I'm okay, there's nothing wrong with me, blah, 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 this one. And by the way, when I was growing up, I used to have what they call hypotension. That is my own, when people's blood are high, my own is low. In fact, when I go for an activity like this, I normally try and drink Coke and beef up my sugar level. So on this day, the doctor said he was going to conduct a test, and he told me, I think he was telling me I was 180 and something. I said, no, it's not possible. It's not possible. How can I be high? It's not that. I said, no, it cannot be. So what happened? And I have a friend whose son is a medical doctor. And I told him that I've had. It was telling me on that day that if not that we are doing something, if I'm in the hospital, we will not allow him to go. Hey. I said, how can that be? That we will not allow him to go. And I went to meet the doctor friend's son. He now confirmed it. So that was when I started taking medication. So before the COVID now, when going to all GSM and all this, and I was now looking at how can I, I'm taking medication, but how can I solve it? Is there our own way of solving this issue? So I now came about all these things. So what I now do was that I will buy all those condiments, all those spices. What I do is that I will buy all of them. Then I will soak it for like 3 days. 2 days. The third day, we use blender to blend it. I am the one doing it, I will blend it. Before, my wife used to do it. But when she was, don't disturb me, I started doing it by myself. After 2 days, I will blend those things. That is, so the instrument, basically the thing we are using, we have garlic, ginger, moringa leaf, basil leaf, that's what they call it in Yoruba, basil leaf, turmeric, then the wonder leaf, all these things, wonder leaf, then there's one thing, then all those things, and clove, when I do all of them, when I soak them, blend them, then I will not sieve it, and I don't take it cold. I warm it. In the course of this work that we do for our sets and all this, I go around a lot. Sometimes they go, Bumi, I think it was your husband that died in Ijebu that came. I went to Ijebu to myself, the way we are sitting like this, that's the way we sat in Ijebu. You know, and we start, we are putting mouth to mouth.
In front of
Sorry. So after that occasion, Bumi went to US, and I think she contacted, she had COVID. She had COVID, and she was in fact, later she called me. She said when she was in that COVID something, the thing that he was thinking about me, that Goke must not have COVID. So the first thing that when she came out, she called me. I was one of the first persons she called, and I told her that I'm fine.
You had garlic in your mouth.
So what I'm trying to say that probably it's one of them, I've been taking that thing since 2018 to that announcement of 2020. So it's probably one of the things that actually saved me. Like what I'm saying now, I don't want us to discard our old our people. At least some of us grew up in the village. Some of us we are using all this agbo or some of these things. It's not bad, but we need to combine with the medication. We need to do tests. But Emmanuel, like I say, in Foursquare, every pastor and his wife is entitled to HMO. And it is compulsory for us to do full medical test every year. The last time I did medical test, when my result came out, they did not find anything negative in my system. The only thing they saw was just a little bit of prostate, and they gave me medication, and that's all. So so these are what I'm saying. We need to take our test very seriously. Thank you.
I want to ask especially the pharmacist, all this, I know the doctors produce pharmacology and all those things. Those supplements that people keep on telling us to take, well man, well woman, all these things, are they really necessary? That's one, my question. My second question, Dr. Lo, can you help me handle that? He said fasting is medicinal. Some of us have GIT issues. I suffer an ulcer. How do I manage fasting to be medicinal when I suffer an ulcer? How can I cope with both? That is for Dr. Lo, okay? And then for the whole panelists, please, this agbo thing, sincerely, is it good? Is it good for our liver? The agbo thing. All those condiments that Goki mentioned, do they really cure like that, or are they really damaging our liver? I was sharing with him, thank God he mentioned it. My auntie, she said she prepared the agbo by herself. Man, the vomiting was not in this world. What she vomited, she prepared the leaves and everything by herself. But she felt sick after taking agbo. Does it really work medically? I'm talking of orthodox medicine now versus agbo. Does it really work? So those are my 4 questions. Thank you. I don't know.
Yeah, I've grabbed the mic first because your first question was direct. Oh, do you want it to be, after all, I think we should make it interactive. Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. So you are noted, you will note who is next. The agency that certifies medicines, fit, and the definition of fit is effective for the indication that it has been approved for, and safe or has a high safety profile. No drug is absolutely safe, even water. Now, because the regulator has to be mindful that people exist in a cultural setting, they don't exist in isolation. The foods they have been eating, the remedies they have been taking in their communities for centuries, that they have passed on from grandmother to mother and all of that, grandfather, whether it's FDA in US or NAFDAC in Nigeria, they don't have authority to tell you what leaves you can eat in your house and all of that. So they respect that, and the way they do it is that they'll say, for you who wants to go beyond your family, you want to give the world, then tell us what is in it. So they submit the list and they vet to see that there is no obvious dangerous thing in it, and then they list it. They don't register it the way they register medicines. So your first point of control is to see that this supplement you are being asked to use, is it recognized by NAFDAC? Is it listed? Now, NAFDAC itself will tell you that their listing is not a proof of efficacy. So use your own wisdom and consult with your healthcare practitioner. If something sounds too good to be true, it is because it is indeed too good to be true. So when you have somebody in medical code, you are not allowed to advertise a cure for conditions like, it's a criminal offense to advertise a cure for things like hypertension, there are some chronic things that we know can be managed, but they don't necessarily get cured. But you see these guys who say they cure cancer, they cure. Every claim in the Western medicine world is subjected to evidence-based proof over a long period of time. So before they say that this actually cures smallpox, there's something called placebo in medicine. It means there's nothing in it. They just compose it as chalk. And as Emmanuel said, if your faith believes it's medicine and you take it, it has been proven to cure stuff. But they will then compare it with what is known scientifically. So that's what you call a placebo-controlled trial. And to make it even more gold standard, they will randomize it so that you don't know who is taking placebo, you don't know who is taking, but it will be coded. And at the end of the study, they will be able to tell that the efficacy of this medicine is so significantly more than that of placebo. Therefore, it does what it claims to do. Or it is no better than placebo. So be wary of those supplements. Take your doctor and your pharmacist as your confidant. Some of them are biased against traditional remedies. You must also use your judgment. We are 60. We are elders. We have wisdom. So you will recognize a doctor who is negative about traditional. There is value in traditional, but there is also need for moderation. And good judgment and wisdom you should apply in making a decision on what's good for you.
Thank you very much.
Let me take the one that we are in the age of commercialization now, capitalism and all of that. So there's a lot that goes into the pharma industry. That's why I said he was supposed to say that. There's a lot of money in that industry. Big money. We're not talking about just billions of dollars. Yeah, in excess of that. So when drugs are being made, vaccines, this is why some people were against things like the COVID vaccine and all of that. They were looking at the commercial aspects. And those things exist, but sometimes it's not all the truth. But when drug medications are being made, and especially this wellness industry, when things are being pushed out, there's a lot of money behind some of those things. Where I'm going is this. If there are deficits, for instance, vitamins and all of that, the basic vitamins have been found to be very good. The age-old ones, that multivite, you take 1-3 times a day. That Fegon, that's the iron supplement that you take 1 a day or whatever, they've been proven to be very good. And they're not expensive. But sometimes, when things are not expensive, it doesn't give us that satisfaction that we are spending on our health. So you go and look out for the one that is 300,000 per month. You buy it and you feel very good. And we have talked about the mind. Sometimes that's all you need. But back to your point, are they necessary? Most of the time they're not. If you need them, as a matter of medically, the doctor will tell you. But of course, if you can afford it, and the supplements are the people that have convinced you, feel free. Sometimes some of those things actually can add to your problems. I give you another example. We've seen people that have overload of things, including things like vitamin D's and all of that. Iron in the system. So, and these are people that are still taking supplements that contain these things. And then you start wondering where the problem is until you do the tests and run them. You don't realize that it is that medication that you are on that has been causing that. In the same vein, even with the herbs, there are some side effects of some herbs that people may not have known. And even when they are known, they are not so common. But you take those ones and then you don't take medications that counter those things. So at the end of the day, you are working against, you're taking two things that are working against themselves. I've seen someone earlier in my practice, this was maybe early in the 90s, I saw one young man that had kidney failure because of herbs. The kidneys were knocked off. We've seen children in the children emergency that also came down with all sorts of things because of those drugs. And then even proper medications. We've seen some, I don't know if some of you remember paracetamol problem in some young children under 6 months and all of that. Because of the excipients, yes, but they were mixed with what they shouldn't have been used for. So some of these herbs too have some of those things that can worsen things. So in effect, supplements, if you have the money, you can afford it, feel free. But they are not necessarily what you need, if you ask me. Thanks.
And we are still sleeping. I had a woman like that. She had first 2 children. Started taking fatty, what do you call it? Infertility. I mean, no, it's fertility. Contraceptive. So took it for about 2 years. No man. She now wanted to get pregnant. 6 months, 1 year. I said, you told your ovaries to rest. They are resting. We have to now treat her as if she is not fertile. To now begin to give drugs. So supplements could do things like that. If you are taking the balanced diet, you don't need drugs. Like Dopama said, the women come to me, they say, doctor, I bought a pregnant care, super money. I tell them, folic acid, Bico. Many times, in their first trimester, go and eat well, eat banana, take fruit. They say, doctor, you won't give us message. Here you will tell me, don't want it. No. So they will say, they have bought pregnant care, this. I say, no, these things have been tested, trusted years back. Folic acid, Bico, ferrous. Beautiful, but like you said, people want to feel big and all that. Maybe I shouldn't buy those things, but I don't want to be part of it. And yes, they say you should have it, we will buy. But the moment they buy it in hospital, the story will change. There is even doctor that recommended. So on supplements, we should be careful. If you are down, of course, you need help to. You can't say somebody has a wounded or a broken leg to be walking because you want him to walk. No, that leg will be gone. So you need to support him till that leg is strong. Supplement to support. But to depend on it, I check their fridge one time. I only chop them because they are sweet. My wife has so many clinical gum, clinical. Say no allows for sleep, clinical solo, clinical. When it's sweet, everything is sweet. Me, I'll just chop. I say, I say, if I want to sleep here now, I sleep. So let's be careful of supplement. If we need it, let it be recommended by a doctor. He has checked, they have done some tests for you. They see that you are lacking a particular thing. Before your body starts doing it right, let's quickly supplement so that trouble does not happen. Good. So,
fasting.
Yes. No, even on your question, the one you said about the agbo, there could have been a dangerous leaf. That's why I wrote Oye tongue. There was a time you ate vegetable in Ilorin. You may not remember. The whole your house, the whole family, your tongue started swelling and growing out. I cannot know if you remember. Your tongue started coming. Yes. And you ate almost, so maybe there was a particular leaf. No, there may be a strange leaf because many people ate that. No, that leaf may not be in the other people's food.
Seafood. Seafood is a very common.
Yeah. So that is so what am I saying? Your sister that reacted because like Dopama said that we shouldn't discard Agbo, but you see, Agbo now should be discarded. There is too much corruption. Drugs in Agbo.
Sorry,
Ogogoro in Agbo.
What you do is you see, when you use a word as a generic, just one moment, I think. One quick comment. You see, the omnibus word Agbo. When you just 1 minute, let me not lose my train of thought. When you use the word Agbo, it gives the impression that is one type of thing. It's like saying medicine. There are 10 million types of medicine. The same way there are different types of Agbo, and the expertise in making this thing is not uniform. There are some babas who went through tutelage. He who taught you, you are just using idea to put something. So the half what they say about that thing, half education is dangerous. So if there are people who've gone through instruction in traditional medicine. They know what those things are. So whenever you're going to take advice, first of all, check the qualifications of the person you're taking advice from. Is he self-taught? Right? Who has validated his knowledge? And the second thing is that the supplement, as I mentioned, is for conditions. If you're like you're in the northern hemisphere, sunlight is not there in winter. Your zinc and your vitamin D become depleted because you don't have sunlight. You take those supplements for that period to ensure that you don't suffer certain conditions because of those deficiencies. So you must recognize what do you have that is deficient, that you are supplementing. On the last note is that everything you do just out of your own self-idea or somebody said, know that you don't know the risk that you're imposing on yourself. So if you're risk-minded, you will use evidence-based approach. This is my condition. This expert or experts have said this is how to do it. And then I now read about it and follow that.
In fact, it's as if it's getting. So, and scientifically, when you are angry, you produce more acid. Scientifically. So, I saw a lot of my patients, they have their anger issue. And then I say, well, science says when you are angry, just like you release the adrenaline and many things. So, there's no point getting angry. They bash me at the car. My wife say I should go and check. I say, for what? If the car can still move, say, get here, we'll push it. Before you know, the man will prostrate. I had problem when I was using best. If I hit somebody, I'm in trouble. If they hit me, they say, Baba, no one everyone. So I got safer when I just discarded. So anger, we should throw it away completely. The same thing with bitterness. So we must create joy for ourselves. If you are not happy, if you don't have it, go to a platform, you will get joy there. No, honestly. Just go, begin to look at these pictures that we are sharing now. Yes. You don't have any reason. Please don't risk our remaining or the years we still have to spend. Avoid anger by all means. Avoid bitterness. Bitterness has its own problem. It can eventually lead to cancer. Researchers have shown. Yeah. Because of the instance that the chemicals produce, what they do. Bitterness. Yeah. So researchers are there. So let's avoid, at this age, there's no point. Even when they are getting you angry, be smiling. And then just because I will determine my state, not you. So we take a walk away. So fasting is first, what is fasting? Fasting is abstinence from food. When? Your choice. How? Because to somebody like me, that's why I say I'm different. I had ulcer. And maybe God allowed it so that I can take care of patients. My reason for ulcer was overeating. Yeah. Overeating yam. It turned roasted yam. It turned my stomach. I didn't know. Why did he tell my stomach? You know system now. He taught us how to harvest yam. It must not break. And if I've ever harvested yam here, at times you don't shake it, thinking, one small stupid part will not break. Will remain. And when you dig deeply, you will see that what remains is just something like this. So when my dad is harvesting yam, you will think he's doing mathematics. He can harvest 100, none will break. We will think, so we went to the farm, and you must not waste food. So those two things. So we were going to the farm, we went with oil and salt and fire. So we started harvesting. Anyone that breaks, this man must not see it. We throw it. So when we finish harvesting, we now started roasting. We can't throw it because we can't lie. Did you throw away yam? We will say yes, a bag. But if we eat, no problem. So we sat down. We started eating. The thing got here. For 2 or 3 days after, I couldn't eat. It was ASU strike. I now went back to the campus. The first thing I noticed was I just woke up. 7:30, it was pain that woke me. I was rolling on the floor. Is this what they call us, sir? I drank water, it went down a bit. After some few minutes, it came. I went for, it was Okim biscuit in those days. Bought Okim biscuit. I said, yeah, I'm in trouble. The next day, around 7, I started cooking. Before the food was ready, the pain. When we are in lecture, once it's 4, if I don't go and take Okim biscuit, the pain. Once it's around, that's 12. So 7:30 I'll be 12, and the pain continues. I'm talking of fasting. After 2 weeks, I said, this time we continue to suffer like this. And we have lecturers who in their box, they have egg and mixed mark. They said, is this my house? I've had it for long. So I imagine the future. This is where I will live the rest of my life. What I did, I recalled back to God. I went back to the chapel that evening after eating around 6. I said, God, they told me you heal people. I know you heal. I am fasting tomorrow to thank you for my healing on this fasting. That's the way they taught us faith works. So I went to the chapel. Honestly speaking, before God and man, I didn't remember I had not eaten the next day until after 6. I said, it's gone. I ran back to the chapel to say, I said, God, thank you. I ate that day maybe around 7:30 or so. The next day, my roommate saw me. What happened? I told them. From that day. But when they now brought a patient to my hospital rolling on the floor, my nurse said she has no pain. She has no what? You won't wish this thing for enemy. When that pain comes, I feel like taking knife and choking myself to silence the pain. Is that bad? So I said, if you know what this person is going through, you treat job, money or no money. They treated, the person promised to pay, disappeared, did not pay. 2 days after, as if God was testing me, they brought another person. They said, doctor, remember, this the other person did not pay. I said, you won't wish this pain for your enemy. So fasting has been used to cancel diseases. Now, you check yourself. If you don't have to fast for long suddenly. It could be gradual. So that you rebuild the body. There is no harm in first treating the ulcer well. Many times people don't treat ulcer. Medically, we were taught to treat ulcer very well for 6 weeks. If you treat for 5 weeks, it may go for the next 2 years. It will come back. Because the healing goes in centric form. So after 3 weeks of taking your drugs regularly, you don't feel the pain again. So but people after 4 weeks, they say it's gone. They are free for 6 months. Then they say it comes back. But when you take the full treatment, you close the final part of the injury. And then that's all. If not, that small part that didn't close begins to expand again. So fasting, if you first get your cure, or you say, okay, fasting is not, God is not a wicked God. You can decide, I will fast for, fast is just remove 1 food. Remove 2. Have a break from the normal time you eat and say, I'm fasting. That's all. So it can be, but treat the ulcer well, and then you can. But there are people, you don't have to fast for God to hear you. He's not a wicked God. So, and he understands our situation. If you cannot fast, but there are many people, both Christian and Muslim, who lie on ulcer to avoid fasting. And God also knows them. Thank you.
Just to emphasize the area of the sleeping is very key. Don't think I'm used to it. Hold the railings while you're coming down. Thank you.
Allow me first pass. Just very quickly, remember among the 3 R's that I mentioned is review. That review is encompassing the principle of routine checks. Not everything you will be able to. Hypertension, for instance, is called the silent killer. The reason it's called the silent killer is that the first sign might be the last one, because it's doing its damage internally on the blood vessels, on the target organs, and all of that. So your best bet is 1, knowledge of your body, so that you can be aware of changes, physical changes, emotional changes, and your partners also being able to identify you, be observant, not just about yourself, but also about your partners, and those kind of let me take a pause there.
Zim. I've not seen it.
Sorry, go, Papa.
No, it's okay.
They called me from the chambers that I should come and see the doctor. I came and then he showed me an X-ray that part of her vertebrae was growing and that it was obstructing her whatever, and they need to she needs surgery to scrape or remove the. Of course, we were really very scared, So I said, if you're having a surgery, please let's go abroad. Let's get a second opinion. Without due respect to, of course, I know our doctors. Even if you go out there, in fact, when we went out there, it was a Nigerian doctor that we went to see in Nottingham, and she went to an ENT doctor, and then they checked, and what they gave her was just throat lozenges. She was gaining weight, she was snoring, and then she had some rashes in her neck, and that was what was causing her problem. And that was it. Lozenges, that was it. So if she had had that surgery, the doctor said she would have lost her voice. She would have been speaking like if you pull a balloon and then that kind of, but that was what would have resulted. So always have a second opinion, and maybe it could just be nothing. Thank you so much. That's just my little contribution.
Thank you. Yeah, on adjustment. Thank you for that. In fact, I would say third opinion. Yeah, when I see a patient, if it's an important decision that we should be living in a realm where nothing shocks you. We are human beings, but you make up your mind. Shock absorber. So that the moment somebody, at times somebody is on a call, my wife is always saying, hey. The person has not even finished saying what they want to say. You have not even heard everything. You're already doing hey. So at times he talks to me, say, and you worry. I always tell people, there is a problem. This phone is here. The problem is we want to move this phone from this place to this water. So that's the issue at hand. It could be sickness, it could be anything. Can I move this phone from here to this place? If the answer is no, why should I worry? There's no point worrying because I cannot. Okay, can I move it from here to there? Yes. Then move it instead of worrying that this thing is here. So left or right, I'm safe. I met my dad and mom so outside, and they didn't enter the house. They came from Malaysia to Akure. Daddy, what's happened? They say your brother. He said he's coming from Benin. We have not seen him. They say so. I say so. You are standing here. Hypotension can come. You have not eaten. They were shocked. I said, Daddy, if he is dead, he is dead. They said, Masobe. No, that's how to prepare your mind. I said, Daddy, if he's dead, he's dead. I said, there's what you can do. I said, but if he's about to die, and you are praying to God, he may live. I said, but I suspect that looking at the two of you, I suspect this boy is somewhere enjoying life. I said, let's go inside. My dad said, so when I said he's dead, my mom said, oh, that's no problem. My dad said, but that's true. So we went inside, we ate. The boy came back in the evening. He said he had been to the house, the door was locked. He went to the governor's lodge. He had a friend who was a youth corps there, enjoying life.
As you predicted.
So from that day, my dad said, Akin has said we should never worry. You can't change situation by worry, but you can wound yourself and have a permanent damage. A nurse was told on Friday that she had HIV. Look for third opinion. So because she understands that's your question, why at times when they even come into church to come and talk about signs and symptoms of disease, I'm very weary. Because somebody used to drink water and peace before. The mind will not say you have this problem that you never had. And if the mind says you have it, you will soon have it. So when I get to church to tell them about, I say, I don't like to come and talk about sickness in church. We should talk about healing. Because when you give, there is hardly any symptom you mention that we have not experienced one. But because a doctor now says it, you will now increase it, you now begin to think about it. That nurse, very bluntly, By Monday, she was looking like skeleton. She had been vomiting and stooling. Why? She knows the signs and symptoms of HIV.
Manifesting.
And she was manifesting because, I mean, you have HIV, so you have to. So you must stool. So the master is telling the body, stool, vomit. By Monday, people who saw her on Friday said, madam, what's the problem? She said, HIV. You okay? We saw you on Friday. HIV doesn't just come like that, go. But her brain could cook up all the problem was. So they tested negative. Another doctor came to me and said, doctor, I'm dying. For the past 6 months, I had an injury, a needle prick from somebody who had HIV. He said, I've been carrying that. What happened? The nurse took the blood sample and was about to give it to him and never took light. So the needle choked his hand. And they knew the patient had HIV. He said, doctor, I'm dying. He said, please, even if I will die, let me know what killed me. Please take my blood sample. So we took the blood sample. I wrote John Mark, not his name. I now sent it to the lab. The result came out negative. He said, it can't be. He said, is it my blood? He said, doctor, now write my name fully and send the blood. So we took another blood and wrote his name. When the result came, he said, yeah. And I've been killing myself. And I've almost died. The place of your mind. I work in IDH, TB everywhere. I told myself, if TB enters my body, it becomes protein. I conditioned my mind. I made up my mind. I saw people who work there who had TB of the spine, everything. I worked there for 7 years. Nothing. I told myself, any disease around, your mind is very strong. Yes. I said, any disease strong around, it won't affect me. We operated a patient who had COVID. The anesthetist got COVID. Almost every doctor there who worked with me had COVID. I kept coming to hospital to operate. They said, Dr. Lowo, not. I said, no, when they get to me, they die. I have conditioned my mind. So God too has now supported me. They had terrible COVID. My consultant who handled the case, I assisted in that case. The first thing, Metro, what happened? All of them. So, how to handle things? Your mind. Settle it in your mind that if anything has happened, what can I do? If the worst happens, what can I do? I shouldn't add to the problem by going bonkers. There are people who say, hey, and that is it. They never come back from it. So tell yourself, good, we don't want any bad news, God willing. But we are in this world. So when bad news comes, don't take it to heart to wound yourself. And it starts by preparation. We don't wish for bad, we don't plan for bad, but tell yourself, I shouldn't worsen things. God forbid, something happens to a child, the person has 2, 3 children, and then you go mad. You make all the other children saying, we are now have a mad mother. We lost a brother, our mother is now mad.
So no future wife.
No future.
You will trace your family.
Yes, they will trace your family history. So please, let's, this psychiatric issue, make up your mind. Outside may be making noise. Inside, when I want to check my mom's BP, we say, I'm a Galatian. In the Bible says, "O ye foolish Galatians," that they have no thinking. So when I want to check my mom's BP, say, I'm a Galatian. That means I'm not thinking about anything. And they now say, we are putting the stuff. You have taken loan from the bank. That's some people bunker. Just make up your mind. First thing when I hear any news, smile. If the smile will make somebody afraid, go to toilet. First go and smile. Yes, because that will let you to know that I'm going to reason well. So please, let's be careful with our mind.
Thank you very much. Please, round of applause for our families.
I just want to find out whether it's good for our health or should we just continue taking the normal teas that we. But I really don't take all those sweet things. So nowadays I take chamomile for sleep, then the green tea. So I want to find out whether it's good for medical doctors and pharmacists.
This is the higher the risk. We talked about the ginger, ginseng, garlic. What those things have in common is their ability, and spices like turmeric, is their ability to lower what helps the blood to clot. So if you have those things that you're taking, the risk of bleeding non-stop increases. As we are getting older, many people have vessel or cardiovascular condition for which they may be taking blood thinners. Those ginseng, garlic, ginkwa, and all of those things will increase the risk of bleeding because it will double the work of those blood thinners. So it's a contrast that you have to keep in mind. But the simple things, simple chamomile is totally, I would imagine, is as good as totally okay. But when it starts getting complicated, moringa and all of those things, just in moderation. And if you have a pre-existing health condition, it's important to disclose that before you can start taking anything. But if you have no blood pressure issues, no diabetes issues, no cholesterol issues, and all of those things, maybe you're in a better position.
Thank you. This mindset is a whole lot. I remember over a year ago, sometimes in May last year, I woke up with a heart, I just turned with heart whatever. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to pass out before the next day. Those that are close to me knows that I actually do them. I went from Lokoja, took the necessary whatever that we were supposed to do. I wasn't satisfied. I had to go to Abuja. My daughter insisted I had to come to Abuja. I'm still talking on this mindset thing. And I was like, he said, Mommy, okay, we'll go to the best hospital. And I went. She took me, and honestly speaking, I didn't even understand. It was a white man, the doctor that was. So I didn't even hear what he was saying. And the medication, what I went for was different. He ended up making me to do tests. Test alone was running into thousands, and I said, what is this one now? Am I shooting myself in the leg? But my daughter didn't bother. He said, Mommy, just to satisfy your curiosity or whatever, that if it is a heart condition, the way you are making it to sound, they won't even let you go. But of course, we paid almost running to $1 million and came back. About 3 months after, nothing happened to me. But in my mind, they didn't give me any special medication that would have to, reduce my whatever. I was so anxious. Every time it was on my mind. You're starting to, why? Your heart. Then she now sat me down and said, Mommy, you are not going to anywhere. You're not going to any hospital again. What you will do for me is that just remove that heart whatever from your heart, from your mind. You are okay. Be thinking about, and as at that time, my pulse rate was low. I even asked Basil. Basil said his own is like that. Then I said yes. They told me that if you are a sports person, it's within that range. But I'm not a sports person. Basil, I'm not like you now. I know that the pulse rate is supposed to be within 60 to 100 normal. You say your own is, but that is because you are a sports person, but I am not. Then what am I trying to say? From that day that I said, okay, then this is the person that is paying my bills and taking care of me. She has now said, Mommy, remove your mind and know that nothing is wrong with that. From that day, I stopped thinking about it, and my pulse rate came to normal and everything. So,
the mind is extremely strong. Okay, it's not here. This I would think. I love to raise broilers. They are animals. But broilers are very problematic. Anybody who has done broiler there before? You have to give vaccine day 1, day 7, day 14, day Kidiko. The one you sprinkle, I didn't like it. So I went for a training. As a doctor, I went for a training. We were there for 3 days. They taught us what attachment to that thing that you can train broilers without herbs. When they were saying all that thing, they taught us how to get fish and all that. Actually, I've done all that. Now that I'm there, I will do it in a bigger scale. But the moment I came back, I went to my brothers. All I needed was to make my own ACV. That's, what do you call it? ACV, I don't know how to put it now. And the training was just ordinary apple. You mix it, you soak it, you mix it, add brown sugar. And I raised my broilers. I just dropped a little in their water. And my brothers, none fell sick. They all leave you and say, show. Because when you want to sell the brother, they will tell you, don't sell until after so number of days of vaccinating, so that human beings are not chopping the drug. But now, I'm supporting you and go to an extent. So it's what we can call and go that so, like we said, we shouldn't throw it away. All my animals, I treat them with herbs that I prepare by myself. So those brothers, just that singular thing alone. Apple that I soak and mix and let it ferment. In fact, I'm planning for another one for December now, so I can roast chicken and destroy it there. So it works. It's paying me. It's one operation I did that Thursday that caused it. It scattered my program. I was thinking I would leave my thing, but they now brought a case I had to bring out the baby. So, and then we didn't have fuel. It scattered everything. I have a rabbit, I don't know, to get to my room. I thought I would come and share correctly. Don't worry, next time, let me make a promise so that I will be hooked in my mind. I will get roasted and then I will bring it to any union once God allows us to be there. Thank you.
Actually, they said a lot, and most of what they said were actually very true. And these are things that I've also advised for quite a while. Doctors and everybody, mindset, your mind, everything they said, BMI and all that. By the way, I mean, BMI that what's the name? Remy talked about. For example, it's important to keep your BMI below 25. And believe me, I think maybe Koke or one or two people here. Even no, I'm being realistic. I mean, when Remy said he was over 30, I was shocked because I put him at 28. And it's in Nigeria, I don't know, we don't take BMI critical, even when you go for checks.
But see, if your BMI is below 25, believe me, you are in a better chance of being very healthy. And you have a better chance of being very healthy. Now, I read a book that talks about not lifespan, but health span. How long can you stay healthy? Not how long can you stay alive. And I think that's what we should concentrate on. You know, it's not about diet, it's not about losing weight, it's about being healthy. And it's very important to really, as they all said, do your physical. A lot of people take it for granted, we don't check. I mean, the key thing they say about, cholesterol, especially cholesterol. Cholesterol is a very dangerous thing, you know, when you talk of cardiac issues. And people don't also take it very seriously, your BP and all that. I don't want to go into all that. But the key thing about for me is that the weight loss process. I wasn't sick, but I didn't have any challenge. But I think I was in the US a year, one particular year, and I read about Bill Clinton. I had about 4 or 3 heart bypasses, and he went plant-based. I think the word here, I would just say, I won't talk long, but I would like every one of us to really research into plant-based eating. I think it's sacred. And it was interesting, and I said, let me look into this plant-based thing. And I started researching into plant-based. And I'll tell you one thing. You are what you eat. And we don't realize it. Everything that goes into your mouth, be cautious about it. And be careful about it. There's so much poison around. And and it takes a lot of discipline. Because the things that are really sweet and nice, they're deadly. And the ones that are healthy are not that interesting. But I think you have to find a way to make them interesting. Now, when I started this journey, I was about 140 kg. Now I'm about 78. Yeah, I'm about 78 now, 78, 79. And I will tell you really basically that the secret for me is not necessarily exercise. What people think is exercise is key. I exercise a lot. I'm a runner. I run marathons. But I will tell people that that's not the key thing. The key thing is the diet. I think it's about, I would say, 80% diet and 20% exercise. Because I know what it takes me to lose maybe 200 calories, but just have one little rice, you've had twice that. And that's why a lot of people find it to lose weight, because it's a formula. How much are you taking in and how much are you burning? And it's difficult to burn. And so you see people, they give up because really they are not really, and you see, we take very high calorie foods. You'll be surprised, rice, bread, these are very high calories food. And we're very, oil also is a very high calorie food. And we take a lot of this. So basically, I will just read this out carefully now. Now, plant-based lifestyle really, what it means is prioritizing food that comes mostly from plant. If it's not plant, I don't take it. I don't take animal for the past 10 years. I don't, it's extreme. And that's what plant-based is. I mean, I don't take any form of animal. And I remember 10 years ago, I had high cholesterol, I had high BP, I was on medication and all that. But I'll tell you now that in the last 7 years, I don't even take vitamins and I don't take any medication. I just live on what God has created. I take plant. Everything is in the plant. Somebody mentioned something about vitamins. I said, why would someone compress everything we have, God has created in nature, and put it in a tablet and make you live on this thing? The pharma industry is a very as he said, they make so much money. And if you have to rely on this medication, how much are you going to spend every month when this can be basically incorporated in your food? So basically what is really plant-based eating is basically vegetables, fruit, whole grains, legumes, and nuts. Those are the key things. For example, fortunately I got my wife to really follow this path, which wasn't easy. But it made it easier at the end of it because I don't know how to cook. And we're able to basically incorporate cooking without oil. I don't think we use oil. I don't think I buy oil in my house to cook anything. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't even use oil to cook anything. And it has worked a lot because, like I will say something, I think some years ago, about 4 years ago, I had a major back surgery. I mean, it was an accident. I had a major back surgery. Microdexectomy. I couldn't actually walk. And I did the surgery because it was so extreme and you had no choice. But how I came out of it was because, see, when you're in good health, it's easier to heal. That's why some people go in, they can't even have a surgery because their vitals are poor. And when my doctor, after 4 years, after like a year, I started running marathons again. I run 42 kilometers. And my doctor said it's impossible. He couldn't believe it. And that's where the issue of mind comes in. You have to really believe it. I mean, when my doctor would say, I said, no, I don't believe what you're saying. And I kept running. And I still do that. I mean, basically, when people, I said, I'm a bit extreme. But I said, you don't have to be extreme. So basically, when I say natural food and whole grain, avoiding animal product, it's extreme. In the healthcare industry, there's so much going on. And there's so much confusion. And I think really you have to look at what works for you. But when I say these things, people argue with me and I say, but see, the key thing is that watch your figures. You can't tell me your sugar level is high. You're still doing the same thing. And ironically, a lot of us are not well, we're on medication, but we're still eating the foods that's creating our problem. We're still eating it. Honestly, it's extreme discipline. I mean, my waist was 44 and I'm now using 33, 32. So it's extreme, but you see, it's also a huge discipline, which is difficult. Because you see this food, you go to parties, you go to functions, and it's difficult to resist. But we are now in our 60s, we're going to 60s. You have to be very careful. It's a matter of time. This thing, it will catch up with you. I'll be honest with you. And we need to really be very careful about what we eat. So I would really advise, I don't want to take much of your time, but if you're interested, you can reach me privately. But you see, you should just research plant-based lifestyle. You can start gradually. It does not take, because, if I see something that benefits, but when I say this thing, people will condemn me and say, don't go there, don't do this, I can't leave my meat, I can't leave my goat meat, I can't leave my chicken. But you see, as I said again, you have to look at what works for you. You can't have your figures wrong and you're doing the same thing. And people take statin. I know people like cholesterol issues, just cut off some few things, you don't need to take any statin and your cholesterol will be corrected. Because when you look at all these issues of clogged arteries and all that, you see, our vessels are like pipes.
And the food we take clogs of our vessels. When you have a stroke, what is it? Take clogged vessel and all that. Osteoarthritis. Also, even arthritis, you won't believe it. It all boils down to the food we eat at the end of the day. And the only thing I can say here is that at this point, really, the best thing you can do for yourself is that whatever you're putting in your mouth, be cautious of what you're eating. And the worst of all I will tell you is that I call them ultra-processed foods, things like sausages and bacon. Those ones are evil. No, I'm serious. They're evil. They're laden with oil. I call them ultra-processed. So the more we stay away from processed foods, even white rice is even processed. That's why I prefer the native one or the brown rice. So we should try and keep closer to plants and something that is more natural and avoid the oil. Oil, you'll be surprised how much calories is in oil. Yeah?
This oil you're talking about,
yeah.
You mentioned nuts. Nuts has like granite.
No, the kind of oil I'm talking about is vegetable oils and all that. Those are chemicals.
But again, you said vegetable oil. So from vegetables.
No, those are not really vegetable. Don't forget the word they use vegetable there.
Even the nuts also are different. You have the roots, almond. In nuts, the healthy nuts are almonds and walnuts. The peanuts, groundnuts are not particularly healthy themselves. Right? So it's all a matter of moderation. Know the risk level and reduce your risk. As I said, not many people can follow me in the extremes. But the clear risk, avoid them. And if you are using oil, use olive oil. Right? Those are well, that's the thing. What's more expensive? The cost of triple bypass. So it's relative.
But when I mention oil, basically what I'm talking about oil is these deep frying issues. I mean, when you deep fry, everything is fried, everything is oil. You just watch it every day. What is it? Your bun? Is it the egusi? Is it the stew? Everything is just oil. So we need to really reduce the oil intake. You'll be surprised how much oil we take in everything we do. So basically, as I said, I would like everybody to find out more about this plant-based lifestyle. And if you're interested in it, it could be gradual. It's not gradual. Take this out, and you see how it works. And you'll be surprised when you do this, your figures will start to change. And apart from that, what I discovered, there's a documentary called, I can't remember the name, off my name. A lot of artists now are doing going plant-based, and they are more efficient. When people ask me, how do you run 42? I've run about 6 marathons. I've run New York, I've run London, I've run, I've run Access 4 times. This is 42 kilometers, and I'll be 60 December. And I still do it. Every weekend I run 42. Where do you get the energy from? I said, from plants. So I think it's important that, I said you have to do what works for you, but I think it's something you should look into. You can gradually start to eliminate these things and go more natural. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, if we are saying that let's create a layman this thing, like this your so-called plant-based now, like breakfast. What can be a typical breakfast?
Yeah, your typical breakfast could be oats. I like the old-fashioned oats.
Only oats. Yeah. But I want to add me ordinary oats.
I'm not into dairy. I'm not into dairy. Dairy is a big issue. As I said. Yeah, but there are a lot of what if you notice now, you see there's a lot of plant-based meat, like almond, cheap. But I keep telling people really that people who keep saying that it's expensive to be plant-based. But I said, what is really more expensive than when you eat an intervention? I'm telling you. So even sometimes I blend oats and I make oatmeal. So even dairy, some people are even lactose intolerant and all that. And all that. So as I say, it's not easy. And I'm not saying everybody must do it, but I'm saying it's something you can look into and gradually, see what you can do about it. And so I think thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Example, a lunch example, very basic. I told you about salad as my go-to, but coming here is not so easy. Then I said, no, it's not easy because you're looking for it in the kind of places where you will get it in Canada. That's not where to find it. My driver is the one who went to the market. What did they buy? Buy lettuce, buy cucumbers, buy carrots. All of those things are available everywhere you go. Wash them, portion them. I portion them and add chicken. Remove the skin, strip it so that I don't feel I'm suffering just eating meat. I still eat meat, but I avoid. You start to reduce some things. Reduce red meat, right? If you are eating meat, go for white meat, fish, and chicken. The chicken, don't try and finish a whole drumstick and all that. Just tear some strips. So you have some things that you have in that salad. Once in a while, let olive oil be the basic thing you sprinkle on it.
There's some dots here. 9 dots to be precise per column. Look, it's 999 in 4 places. I want somebody.
Do like the army, say you volunteer.
Just commandeer.
Let me give the task so that I'll be able to know whether they'll be volunteer.
Caroline has volunteered.
No, let us work.
Yeah. On this, each of the boxes comprising of 9 dots. I'm going to use a pen to draw 4 lines to cover all the dots without taking the pen off. So I have the pen here.
Okay, I will do my own.
The line is line. That will cover all the dots. So like we said earlier on, the mind is the key thing that drives everything about us. So I want us to put behind the back of our minds that yes, so this time, because we are focusing on 60 and above. How many of us have heard about treasury? There's one that just came out, and it's for us to be able to, it's like a mutual fund, for us to be able to benefit based on what we have acquired. What do I mean? Do you know that it's possible for you to use the building that you own now as a collateral to get more buildings? There's a scheme. What you have for you to be able to get more houses. I know it's a food for thought.
We tried, some of us tried it. They tell you, oh, you have to now bring collateral.
The house is the collateral.
Yeah, but they will still not give you loans on it.
They won't cash the house with collateral.
Then how many of us normally have a preferred bank? We are used to. But how many of us want to have, maybe to diversify in terms of, but because we are used to those kind of banks, we tend to stick to them, despite the fact that they're giving us a lower interest rate. How many of us fall with that? Services. That's another thing. Treasury bills, they're guaranteed. We can preserve our income. Like I said, there are 3 things we're going to be talking about. Preserving income, steady income investment, and also moderate or balancing the risk options. For the low risk and the capital, he said, I was able to find out that 50% of their investment is being tied to that, which gives them quarterly payment, it gives them semi-annual payments, it also gives them things, that they can enjoy some other benefits. Therefore, steady income investment, like we said about stock, shares, I saw a pattern of like 30% of the investment. Then I was also able to see the other part, which is the foreign currency investment. I saw that as like 20% of it. So which means the investment that diversified and they're able to keep the rate or the risk even intact. So I will also want us to encourage ourselves that 50% on like treasury bills, bonds, 30% on like shares, and 20% on things like either Eurobond or all this gold, FX. Now, the key benefits of us going through this route is that our capital is preserved and is also partly hedged against inflation, which is a major factor that we contend with. Then also makes us to see or to have the investment that will not wipe off all that we have acquired over the time. Even if one sector is affected, it will not affect the whole of our portfolio. So it's very key for us to look at the various areas that we need to invest. Then lastly, it will also bring the monthly or the quarterly inflow. Like T-bills is an upfront payment. Once you make your request, a certain amount is paid ahead of time. However, if you need to break or you want to break the contract, there's a penalty that you have to pay. Bonds, they're longer terms, though more secured also because they're government bonds. So I would like to end to ask questions even at this time.
Thank you very much, Akumi. And my question, I just have 2. First one is, when you're talking about the 50-30-20 rule, are you talking about the total investments or total amount of savings that you intend to invest that you separate into that 50-30-20 rule that you mentioned? That's question number one. Question number two that will be an advantage to us is what's the rate of return I can get on treasury bills now based on the MPR? What's the rate of return I can get? What is the rate of return if I decide to invest in gold, like I've mentioned? I've not done that before. I don't know how it works. What's the rate of return? What's the percentage that will be my return at the end of the period, say 1 year? Okay, and then there was a third one you mentioned. Is this stock? You mentioned stock. What would be the rate of return? That would be more beneficial to me. I can know the percentage of what I will get if I put the bulk of my money as gold, or I put the bulk of my money as like a treasury bill investment. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to take them one by one?
Okay, let me just take this one. Okay. Let me first take this one. The first question is
50-30-20.
Okay, the 50-30-20, like I said, it was a pattern over a period of time for various customers. And the investment, that is the percentages of what they have. Let me use that word. What they have and the way they want to invest what they have accumulated over the period of time. Like I said, these are people that, we have statistics of not only in our bank, but in all the various investments. And I was able to get that. Because those are part of the researches that we do in order for us to come with a template, as it were. So we found that 50-30-20 actually helped them a lot. And I know that it will also help us. And also, these people, they're about 60. Then the second question about the return of investment. Now, I did a small calculation. If I could have brought my presentation. For treasury bills, I did an analysis for like a 10 million portfolio. And for the ROI for that, for the 50%, it's like 510,000 a year. While the steady income, which is the stock, is going to give us a return on investment of 300,000 per year, and the gold is going to give us like 200,000 naira per year. So on the estimate for the passive income, that's for the annual, it's like 1,050,000 per year, which comes to like 80 to 90,000 per month.
I'm confused. I want to know, is it that if I take my 10 million and I spread it at the 50-30-20 rule, this is what I will get? Okay. Thanks.
I have a property that I wanted to build more. And I told my bank, okay, take this as a collateral. And I want to build more property. And they were like, okay, do you have off-takers for the property that you want to now? I said, but you already have this as collateral. Take it, give me the money. Whatever I do with the money is my own lookout. Maybe you're holding on. So, why does it have to be that way? If I want to say, okay, I need capital to do some business, okay? Why do you have to know the off-takers of the business I want to do? If you are holding on to, in case anything happens, you can now, and that thing you are holding on to, the collateral, has to be worth the more than the amount you have. So you want to be doubly sure that you are safe. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. The first one about the housing issue or the housing scheme, we have actually sat down to analyze all these bottlenecks. And I can tell you that though it's not my bank doing it, because one thing that we do in the industry is that we try to collaborate. Yes, we may be looking at competition and whatever, but we were able to get, like I said, I may not mention the bank, but we will discuss later. But we've been able to get a bank that has an international backing, which some of these rules are not applicable.
If somebody knows the judge more than you or some other parties, you can be there for the next 5-7 years. Now the accrued interest will now overtake the value of the property. But if you're not careful, you will lose your investment and then you still have expenses that you pay. So over time, if it was, you don't have to go by profits. Anything that makes money, they will create a product for it as long as they can safeguard their assets. But it's not that easy to liquidate things, so that's also something to think about. But primarily, banks want to get paid from the cash flow. Even if we have an asset, if the transaction itself is not going to generate enough cash, most banks will walk away from it. Thank you.
Then you as an entity, they will do an assessment on you. Whether what you really want to do, you'll be able to retain. So aside the collateral, you as a person, that's why they go to credit bureau to see whether you have a case of non-meeting of your obligation. Might not be in this bank because the credit bureau actually cuts across every. So once they send your name, they will check. So it is what is called from CBN due diligence. However, we are still trying to see. These are concerns various.
But you know that it will be easier. Let's say between me and you now. Let's say, okay, let me 10 million now. I will pay you, I'll be giving you 1 million every 3 months. Okay? Have this business around you. Fine. I mean, okay, hold on to my house, my car. It's worth, it's worth 12 million. Alright? Why shouldn't you be able to transact that business? Because you're covered. Okay? So normally you allow me, let me go, if I want to now go and start buying onions today, because it's onion season, to bring to Lagos to sell, or buy cows and bring to Lagos to sell. I know the business I want to do. Okay? Why shouldn't the bank? That's what I said. But you are covered. No, you have a collateral that is worth more than what I give.
I mean, it goes beyond collateral. There's a reputation, even your bank's license, I'm serious. You are reporting to a regulatory authority. You cannot tell them that I have assets that is covering the loan and then okay.
I want you to accept that what he said is they are looking in. These are the things that reduce the bottleneck in people to ignorance.
And but not to also the risk.
Yeah, but not to endanger yourself.
That's the thing.
I understand. But the thing is, if you have a collateral, you have to use of collateral.
So I think on 2 dimensions. One is that a bank would rather invest in an ongoing concern, and it will assess that ongoing nature of the concern by you making the transaction you're bringing to them investable. If you're doing a building project, you've identified Basil, you've identified Susan, and one other person who have given you, and they're credible people, they have given you a letter of intent that yes, I'm looking to buy a house, and what you're planning to build and the location is good for me, so I am interested. You understand? Those are the kind of comforts when they say off takers. I understand, but their own core issue. So to your point, the institutional and societal risk is what prevents them. To your point, if we are in some other places, you need 15 million. Your whatever is there. They might not even ask you, your credit card, they're not interested in what are you using it to buy, right? They've profiled you and they know that you are finished in that system if your credit risk goes back. Nobody else will ever give you anything. So, but in the society where we are, where we've seen deliberate, disingenuous, dishonest approaches from credible people who set out to not do any of the things they said. And somebody has told me, who is owing the institution I was, that, Oga, I have used your money to build house.
Diversion.
Oh, he admitted it fully. And he said, I called my friend who was in the army. This was a long time ago. He said, you will lock me up now, but before you get to Lagos, I will be out of wherever you are. So just take it that I have agreed I'm owing you and will be paying you small. So this society is not the place where you say just because you have a house. That house is a headache. When it comes, you, a whole honorable. I have been issued a check from NNPC in the days before it became electronic. No, it didn't bounce. It got cleared into another person's account. The check from diversion. In those days before the electronic. So in Nigeria, anything can happen. And so the risk mitigation is multifaceted. It's not just, the collateral is one comfort, but there are other things they will consider.
10 million is about 500.
In total, 500.
What of inflation rates? Have you considered that? If I go and buy with 10 million down somewhere, at the end of that year, that money will be useless. You understand me? No. The value of that 10 million naira might not worth around 5 million naira. I'm still happening in Unitate. Stocks, a lot of them have been discouraged. During the new time, there was seriously an inside that trading. So they messed a lot of people up. So to go into the majority of all these things, we need to convince us and the essential issue. For some of us, we spend our money as it comes. We see what we have used to buy. Do you understand? So I think it's better for me to take that risk. However, I used to work in the edge of the
At time we see the kind of trend of the fraud. Once they leave the commercial banks, it enters into these and fintechs, and you would not be able to trace them. However, I think CBN, they mandated them.
I think the commercial banks are also involved. I think these banks don't want to put money chasing fraud. It's deliberate, because they're not losing money, somebody's money. And I think banks are very reluctant in following up with frauds. They just believe it's your fault. Whatever happens, and they do not put any effort into it. It's quite deliberate, because it's not about this other bank. It's about this main bank themselves. They don't follow it up. In fact, I had an issue recently where this whole WhatsApp fraud happened to me, and they asked people for money. And basically, I was able to stop money in that account. But 1 year after, they won't even return the money to the original owner. I've done EFCC, I've done bank, I've written letters. They won't return the money, and it's in that bank. But they're not returning it to where it came from, even though it was blocked.
those are cases. Again, I'm sorry to take the mic. But you see, there are some assumptions that are not very correct. The banks are working very hard on fraud. Now, there's an ability or capability that they may not possess, some of them. There are fraud tools that are being bought on a daily basis, tested and being bought on banks, just to see how much they can catch these fraudulent stuff. They do VPTs that they bring in people to just test the systems, try and hack into it. They bring people from the dark web. They come test, can you penetrate that system? And they work on those vulnerabilities. So there are lots of things that they are doing. Having said that, we also have very smart people that are steps ahead of some of these things. CBN, on the other hand, is also penalizing these banks. You probably don't get to hear, but most things that CBN do these days, any little thing here, they fine the bank 150 million. You must pay, and you have no choice. These are your regulators. They have your account. They deduct from source. By the time they give the bank 1-2 days, come and explain, you are not coming. They deduct it. You have to report, and then the impact on your financials, for your board members, for your for the owners, your stakeholders, it's also there. So the banks try to avoid it. Having said that too, there are lots of bad eggs in the system. There are people that connive at some point. Don't forget that we are just human beings. There are those that come in with different intents and keep trying to do whatever they want to do best. But I know there's a lot of work there. I know there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But each case should be looked at on a separate and individual basis, because there may be more to those lines. Sorry to hear about what you are saying, but I'm sure that there could be some resolution somewhere along the line that has not really been triggered.
Thank you very much.
And that detective work, as it's saying, is outside the capacity of the bank, because there's a structure you must have to do it. There's a technology work that needs to happen as well. So outside, you have people who are sometimes even smarter than the people. That's why he was talking about ethical hackers who are invited to test all those vulnerabilities and all of that. But there are some that are not interested in coming to do ethical hacking. They're just in that they know how easy it is to make the money. And once those monies, when you hear cryptocurrencies and central bankers not wanting to legitimize cryptocurrency, it's because it's untraceable. The principle of the crypto itself, there's an underlying technology that escapes me, but I forget the term. The principle itself is that you cannot trace it. That's what is built upon. And you have the legal aspects. If you get tied up in the bank, and somebody who is aware that he has stolen, there's a limit to what they can recover from him. He has the judges in his pocket. So the banks also have reputational risk. So they are covering a lot. Every bank is being hit. If I know correctly, you might not be able to say, the First Bank MD, part of the reason he had to leave was because of the massive fraud within First Bank that staff of First Bank were involved in. Yes. All the banks have these problems, right? So it's a multifaceted thing, and typical Nigeria is that it will create opportunity for chop for the law enforcement people, so they will not support any smooth action most of the time.
At the same time, you can't keep our daughter there too.
Okay. Now, I don't know where I stand now. If Akimi has stopped where he just stopped, it was easy for me on the issue of investment. But by the time questions started coming and all that, I'm not thinking of any investment again. Oh, I wish Aminu was there. I've worked with Lagos State for over 23 years. I'm retired. And so my people say I can't get anything until maybe 3 years' time. But I hate the fasting. I started thinking, doesn't the country encourage fraud?
By that.
I've stopped working since June. No, since April, because I was to go on leave to go.
Yes.
No more salary. I've been on salary for years. Regular Sunday coming, and then suddenly nothing again. In me, I never even thought of that. Because at least God helps one is but and I said, if I know that this was going to happen to me, 2-3 years I won't have a dime. I make things to happen. I need back some money to survive. I'm waiting for them to pay me. I'm going to write exclusively. It's wickedness, it's evil, it's unfair. If I don't have anything to follow, I've been constantly every month, I'm sure something comes in. So I manage it. And since June now, not a dime. And they are saying if I don't, someone came to me, I paid about 150 to be running to Alausa, run to this. All my money that I worked for. So I want to challenge the government on that seriously. It's evil. But no salary. So imagine people who have access to money, they will make sure they put salary of 3 years, even if you don't want to sleep. If you put salary of 3 years somewhere. So I was thinking, before it's done, my plan was when I get whatever pension or whatever they are giving me,
it's part of my salary that they have been removing. No, be so.
Benny.
I told my wife, we are going to blow it. No investment, nothing. We are going to blow everything. Travel, do this and all that. Nothing. But when he started speaking, I said, okay, maybe I can regret. But when the people started asking questions again, it's like, maybe I should even blow it. Before, so the other parties, very shortly there may be laws to criminalize crime on AI. Because there was this news, I don't know if you are out of it. People had a meeting. Only 2 people were original in that meeting. All the others were fake. So, and they approved, the fake people approved money, the contractor collected money, the treasurer issued money, and then they got to bank the next day and he said, okay, you gave approval. We had a meeting yesterday. You said this, and even you were there. They were not there. So only the criminal knew that those who were not real, and he invited a real person to give the final order. So this AI thing, they may bring up a law that when you commit crime with it, because some things, somebody talks to you in the voice of your parents or something, I need money urgently, and so they are, and then where you were never, they will put a picture of recent. My brother did one, our grandmother was waving to us, she has died many years. I said, don't let my mommy see this, so she may fail. But I may show you. Oh, they now showed my dad again, now what of my dad? Because his stomach smile as a hero. So I'm afraid now, whether to go and blow my money, then high risk, me I take risk. But very reasonable risk. The money I cannot lose, I don't risk it. I did MM. I went in fast. I came out. Then I told people, don't put money in November. Any money you are not going to take in November, if you put it here, because I use my small brain. In December, nobody wants to invest. It's time for festivities. So there will be a lot of demand. Those people who are not doing anything, I knew they were criminals. They were just circulating our money. They were not doing any business. So in December, many people will say, give me money, give me money. I said, I will wait until February. If they survive till February, I will start again. I told many bankers were in it, and they will do. So when the thing crashed, hey, only one will lose money, I said, me, lose money again. But the money was ready to go before if it disappeared. Nospeco was something like that also. But I got money to build a house from Nospeco also. Because I entered very early. So should I still invest this pension and this that I don't know when it will come? I will call you.
Now, all I want my money, right? To the set one of God. And what I think that even when the set one will come, they did not give me that money completely at a time. They were giving me, but they gave me 3 times. But lucky enough for me, my wife and I said, we have decided what we want to do. So as the money was coming, we were putting it in. We are going to manufacturing machinery. So as the money was coming, we were depositing it. So by the time the money came, we were able to do it. So that's how I was able to solve that problem. So then another thing that did then about investment. When I was growing up, Femi Edu was the price for the house. So I called Femi, like, look, I'm interested in shares. So he introduced me to the guy who is now doing Philip, that WTS. He introduced me. I was buying share. Now I will tell you that this your share and table that you are buying, we go see the table. That share, we go say that share table, share table. After some time, people were dropping. So what my wife did was that she was buying land.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying? So let me give you there's one example. So at a particular time, somewhere in Ikorodu, we have a farm there. We are there, we have a farm. Somewhere in Ikorodu, in Ogun State, we said, there's a man who introduced land to us, 2 acres. That's 6 plus 6 plus. He said, okay, this is plus. I want to sell it. My wife then said, okay, me, I will buy 1 acre. You buy 1 acre. I said, no. That I want to buy a share and tell you. That share I will buy. So I bought 4 bank share. That 4 bank share we are buying now, I've not been able to sell it. first bank share that I bought in 2007. I'm not yet willing to buy. So what that the share that she, the land that she bought that land for 350,000. 6 plots. Each of that land now is 6 million. Our own is 6 million. So meaning I don't become that. Let me call this money. So what I did was that when I say okay, I had a friend who was working share, very close friend of mine. Folabi Oladipo, maybe some of you know. So what did I do? Okay, I said Folabi, I'll offer it to you. Folabi bought the land. So she already bought one, and my wife bought one. So I'm not the one coordinating the two and the two. That's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that land is also good as a form of investment. Yes.
Thank you very much, Pamiti. I will say to you that you are very lucky. You didn't buy it in Nigeria, where Omonile will not allow you to keep the land that long. So there is a risk involved, but no problem.
That Aja that is talking about, in actual fact, the first land I bought in Lagos, I said people Benga, but I bought from Benga. Benga had a land there. Benga Kilipsi had a land there. The Irike former chief justice, we have land there. I was telling somebody, it's behind Lagos Business School. That's where I wanted to build my house that I now built in Ikurudu. There was problem. In fact, the land we bought for 150,000 at that time, where is millions now. In fact, I ran away.
Excuse me. I think I need to clarify this because I need to clarify this. A lot of people really don't understand the issue of land. Now, when you're buying land, you must make sure you buy land that has title. The person selling land to you, I'm not a lawyer, but over time, I've gone to understand it that a lot of people get, when somebody is selling land to you doesn't have proper title. Most families acquire this land, they don't perfect their documentation. That means they cannot transfer title to you because there's only one CFO. You could get a general CFO and they cannot start selling land and you do what they call a deed of assignment, and you get the governor's consent. But so if you don't follow this process, there's a risk. But when you buy a land that has title, only someone that has title can transfer title. So that is the bottom line.
I think the issue of land, we talk about it in our next video. Please, let's put round of applause for Akili. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Helped us to complete that video in the evening. We need a cable, and then we'll be playing that at the background for all of us to see. But I thought of it a bit differently, that everybody's experience with these people is different. So I'll read out the names, and I appreciate for each person, if one person, if you really knew them and you remember, because a lot of us, after we left school, there's some people here that, I never ran into, or I couldn't immediately lay my hands on somebody who ran into them. So if you can give us your best memory of these people while they were in school, I have 10 names. Ayo Shobola, Yakubu Gwamna, Najib Habib, Jacob Ibrahim, Rekiat Idris, Hamza Brahima, Conrad Swina, Rifkat James, Ado Ali Lingi, and Emmanuel Ogundele. I don't know if there's anybody else that anybody is aware of. Kule Baye. Yawale, okay. And Kule Baye, so that will make Okay, so we'll update that. But please, can we start maybe, is anybody here? To do on Quran. Okay. Ayo Shokola. Well, I can take that. Sorry? I don't know 3 minutes. No. But that's supposed to be. She just explained. She just explained.
Nothing. This is not.
No. Are we supposed to film this portion?
No. Beam it.
To stream it.
We need a cable for that. So in the evening it will project. You will see the video playing at the background. So for Ayo Shobola was my cousin. Her dad was the vice principal while Mr. Alani was there. So my senior brother was two cents ahead of us, and it says so much about Mr. Olanio on how great the school was. So that's how we got there. And she's been gone for quite a while now. Actually, her husband also died almost like 4 or 5 years after. And they had just a son. But he's in Lagos now. He's doing very well. He's gotten married. And her mom is my dad's junior sister.
Wow.
So that's how we're related.
So the good fighter.
Where's her mom right now?
She's usually between there and London. Because all the kids
Shegun is in London, not so.
not only Shegun, and Bola too.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're all over the place. So that's it. Then for Risky. Aminu.
Risky Yakubu Gomna. He is from Maiduguri, Borno State. Even though he's right?
Southern parts.
Yeah. So I met him when I came to FGC, and then we happened to be in the same house, and at the point we were in the same corner. You know, his bed was right next to mine. So what do I have to say? He fell in. Well, he married, and we have he has three children. They are all ladies. They are grown up now. Have their pictures here, maybe I'll share on the group. He fell in, he had a liver problem. And well, let us say, that was what took his life. And Najib, he was also an architect. In fact, they were in the same department when we were in Navy. And while I was studying law, they were studying architecture. And Najib got married, and he has like eight children. I think he was not in Abuja. And he had very simple problem of piles, and he was going for an operation. And his wife went with him. They went to the hospital, and they gave him an anesthesia. And that was it. He never woke up from that. Even the operation was not even done. So that was.
He drove himself to the hospital.
He drove himself to the hospital.
It wasn't an emergency.
Yeah, it wasn't. So he left, as I said, 8 children, and that is, I miss them. Yeah.
I just want to put a word to Yakubu Goma. Risky Machete. That was his name. Machete. Yes, Machete. That was the real name I liked calling him. And I'm surprised I couldn't pronounce it very well now, maybe because of age and because of time. Anyway, vividly I could remember many incidences that we were involved in during our outing days. We used to go out together, even with Aminu, on Saturdays, both legally and illegally. Why I say legally is that on Saturdays after our breakfast, you can go out. But illegally, we are supposed to come back 6 p.m. We come back the following day. You understand? And we come beneath the fence in the bush where we have our green farm. And there was another incident that Alaji Monitor piloted GC Oniko in his 504 station wagon to where we went to do this GCE, and Aminu was brought back in the station wagon with Risky, but that was only Antelope that escaped. And Alaji Monitor said, where is that Ojo, where is that boy, where is that Antelope that ran away that we couldn't catch? And we had nice times. We watched movies opposite the Emir of Ilorin's house,
I think, I've forgotten whether na Scala or where they call that cinema house. So we had good time together, and it was a pain when I learned of his passing. Najib too was a very good friend as well. He puts me through academically in one or two subjects, and I held him dearly as at the time we graduated. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of the two of them after we left school until eternity. Maybe we will see. Thank you.
Go to Jacob. I still want to speak of governor. I am that person that's terribly quiet. He's not good quiet, terrible. So he pleaded with me one day. You don't go anything, you don't do anything. Let's go and have a time in town for cinema. That day, because we were close somehow, we are from nearly the same area. So I agreed, we went. That was the first time I entered a cinema hall. And I pray that it should be the last time. Before I knew, already I was smoked. I was completely smoked. I don't smoke, but because of the people around, so I will never forget that day. So yeah, we came out in the night later, we went through the other way that somebody said. That was the experience I still remember every day. But we've been together because we are at nearly the same area. The southern part of Kaduna, and then we were the eastern part of Bauchi State. So we were close in the same region. Jacob Ibrahim, maybe what brought us together is that himself and myself, we are nearly the tallest people in the office. We are nearly the tallest people, so we just became close. He was on his own as well. Doesn't go for outing, doesn't go for anything, just quiet. I knew him very well. We discussed with him. Even when we started to work, he was in my office twice. One day, I don't want to tell the others to save time. One day I now thought of it. Then I was now director of National Center for Innocence. So I left Abuja as early as 5 a.m. I said, today I'm going to do for him wherever he is. I went to this office. They would cook the story, not knowing that he has passed away. They would say, I will go to this office. They will say, at the end, the person that took over from him as a personnel manager of the Jama'a local government, he now told me, he said, who is he to you? I now told him that we were classmates in the secondary school. And he had been to my office in Jos, because my office was just on the main road. So he told me the truth is that they lost the family.
The family?
Except the children, the mother and himself, they've gone. I think it took me time before I could respond. All this while I never looked for him until he died.
Wow.
And it pains me. In fact, I now asked, how many children had he got? You said 2. Where are they there in Jos? So I now came to Jos. Up till now, I'm not gotten the children. For nearly 10 years. I went to his people who knows him, they would give me stories. And I made up my mind. I said, before I go, I want to see at least one of the 2, either married or not married, because it's a boy and a girl. So I'm still looking for them. Anytime I get them, I will snap pictures and bring it. As I said, maybe either it's our structure that made us very close. I really don't know, but we were close. The only thing is that he's on the other side. I don't drink, but normally he takes more. I won't say much, but they told me that is one of the things that took him home. But I think it's the only short one. I know some people in this classmate, if you have it, you are in seat together, I think. Yeah.
Very early, she was just so easy to talk to. You know, she was a bit older than us, so we used to get into a lot of shenanigans. She's a very kind-hearted person. She was somebody that, I mean, we just flowed. She was very friendly, and I remember when we used to go and do our illegal parties. When we get there, we start dancing. After 1 hour, Rachel said to me, "I'm not going to follow you, because if I follow you now, when we have test tomorrow, to take me 3 hours to review, just read the whole 1 hour. So just leave me." I said, "I wait now. Let's just manage another thing." You know, she was just a very pleasant person to talk to. Because I also did the university in Ilorin. I was able to see her a few times before. And then we just kind of lost touch. And for a long time, I was asking people, did anybody know where she was? Nobody could really tell me. And I heard that she passed. I was able to reconnect with her children. So the first daughter, Hakima, she'll be coming in tonight for the dinner. I posted it on the platform. It was, I remember this. When Kule wanted to ask me out, he asked me that, okay, would I go outside? I said, I went to the hostel. I went to tell Ricky. I said, so Ricky, I said, what did you say? I said, I was thinking about. She said, for real? Oh yeah, go and get dressed. She matched me. Said, if that boy should go ahead, I will kill you in this hostel. You know, I was like, you won't even pass the person. Ricky, I said, my friend, shut up. And then we went there, when we did English, I said, okay, can I go back to the hostel? Because she had a back, so if you go near that. But that was just the kind of person, you know, when we have to come and smuggle Gary, all sorts of things. We had source providers, you know, that will help us bring it. If you bring it, you know, we'll share it. She was just pure love. She's greatly missed. I mean, the first day I saw her daughter, I literally lost it. So, I mean, when the brother, who was it? Was it Carol? Where's Carol? Carol just posted on the platform that she saw Rekia's brother. In the middle of the night, I got up. I said, hey, you saw Rekia's brother? I called her right away. I got the number. I said, please tell him I'll be calling him. And I called him. And, you know, he now said, oh, these are her children's telephone. It was a very emotional thing for me. Because over the years, you know, I just kept wondering, you know, what happened to her? I couldn't be in touch with anybody. So I'm very excited to meet her daughter today. And Susan, over to you. Very good friend. And her parents knew me. My parents knew her as well. And all the Madugos around Ilorin and that area knew her. Her father was quite a prominent man in Kwara. So the last time I saw her was when her husband was commissioner of housing in Kwara. And she was her usual lovely, bubbly, lively self. And I tell you, she didn't die from anything protracted, but at some point the news came. I got a call from somebody in Ilorin that, when last did you see Rekia? I told the person said, have you heard? I'm saying, heard what? Because we had been in touch. So I was given that very sad news. It was like a knife passing through the heart. But I thank God for Bumi, who's found her children. They are all grown now. And I thank God that we can all be here today. And she's still somebody we can remember. And she left an indelible mark in the lives of those who were connected to her. So thank you for letting me talk about Rekia.
Some memories are really faint, but Rekia I remember very well, because in fact the last memory I remember strongly about Rekia was the one that herself and two other people said that was one of them. They were making fun of me somewhere in front of the old, no, not the corridor, the assembly hall, you know, the path that leads to the field. It was like a Y. So there's one little shrub there. Then, I don't know whether it was clear later on. And we tried to camp there, myself and I think it was Bamjeli Mwari or somebody else. We tried to build like a little camp there. And of course, we were walking back, they kept running rings and singing my name and making fun of me. So that was the Rekia I remember, and that was about the last memory I had of that group. And it stayed with me because even prep, all those times, and she was quite an easy person to relate with.
Yes.
She was on so many fronts, and always welcoming personality, that kind of. She loved sports, which was good. And then, just name it, she could relate with you at all levels. At that time, that's what I remember. So, fast forward some years later, when I did ask Maeve about Maeve initiative, I felt really sad about it. But I know that memory still holds there in me, and I'm also happy that somewhere along the line, her legacy still lives on, and we can actually connect to people that are related to her.
Yeah. It's so sad to talk about a friend, a sister, as young as we were. Rukia was a little bit older than us. We were together in the IRK classes. In fact, if not, I'm not too good at keeping pictures. There were some pictures that Rukia and I think it was Chinyere Honora. I held on to those pictures for a very long while. Rukia was a very pleasant person, easygoing, admirable, lovable, cheerful. Those were the memories I have of her, or I had of her. And unfortunately, there were no phones, we couldn't get in touch. So the memories of those schools were the ones that we had until some years later, while asking after every other person, we heard the sad news that she is gone. May Almighty Allah grant her and Jannah to Firdaus. Bless the children that she has left behind, and may her legacies continue to live on.
I heard that for years, but eventually he died. But the rumor has it that he was murdered or something like that. But I'm not sure of that. Yes, you understand. But so that I was like, then it's not true. Okay. Then secondly, another thing that because of the brilliance I now discovered that in University of Ilorin, there's a prize, because I was reading one of the so there was prize for the best medical student, Hamza Ibrahim, Dr. Hamza Ibrahim, best prize for medical student. So in University of Ilorin, they have instituted his name. So that's all that I know.
I think you remember we used to call him Skolex.
Yes, it was Skolex. Yes. So he came from Igbobi College. He joined us in that. He came from Igbobi College.
Is that kill me here? Conrad Swiner was one of my, remember my story about many best friends. He was one of my best friends at a point in time. And I think he was in Faith House, and his father used to work in Pan, the Peugeot automobile in Kaduna. So there was a time, so he and I, part of the reasons we got along was that we were both very playful. He was a very good basketballer, so with Emeka Tolefe, they used to play basketball a lot. And one of the holidays, an uncle of mine who lived in Zaria was a major client of Pan, and so he was a distributor and all of that. So they met, and maybe they visited Conrad's house, and the father said, "Oh, my son is in FGC there," and my dad was very proud. "Oh, my son is there too," and then asked Conrad, "Do you know Reverend?" He said, "Oh yeah, Reverend is my very good friend, but he's a layabout. He's too playful." So I now said, can you imagine Port calling Kettle Black, Conrad, of all people, to say somebody is playful? So when I didn't get that scholarship that I mentioned, and my father heard that there was fun, he said, "Yes, your friend said it. You are too playful." So Conrad, I think he left in Form 4. He went to England. And I remember him sending me, sometimes I confuse it, whether it was him who sent that. Yes, it was him or Deji. No. Okay. The two of them, there was an England connection at that point. But the bottom line was, I think he left us before we finished Form 5. I think he left in Form 4. But he then came back sometime in 2014. And I don't know how he got across to me, but he reached out that he was around. And I organized, there's this place in the Palms. The Palms was then very active, Soul Lounge. I don't know if you know Soul Lounge in the Palms. So I called boys, Femedu, Benedict Uzoebo, and quite a number of us. So we had a sit-out in his honor, and had some good times. Then subsequently, I think it was Sopela Liko that informed me when he passed on, and I attended his a service in his honor. I don't think it was. I'm not sure if it was buried in Abuja, but that thing happened in Abuja. What they put together. The good part that brought better memories to repair that sadness of when the death was, in the course of my work in the last 2 years, I needed a French interpreter. I was doing some African regulatory group thing with 9 African countries. So I needed an interpreter. And their surname is not common. I don't know any other Swina other than his family. So I saw this lady, Fane. And so in the middle of a very important and formal event, I'm sending a message that, Fane, do you know any Conrad Swina? And says, yes, that's my older brother and all of that. I said, wow. So that increased my conviction to give her more business from my organization. And it took 2 years before we met in person. And so we took a photograph, and that serves, a positive memory. So may soul continue to rest in perfect peace.
The name tells where he came from. Ningi is a local government, a town in yeah, exactly. That is why. Yes, I think he was a hockey player. I think so. He played hockey. Well, my own, I was playing football. So, yes. I started in the front, but by the time I got to Form 3, I was at the back. In fact, the last time was normally in GCI. By the time you get to Form 5, you don't go to the field again. But that time when we were playing with the GSS Ilorin, his father had to come and pick me because I was a terrible defender. And that was my last football before I now retired in Ilorin. Adoadi is a nice person. And what encouraged me is his religion belief. He doesn't miss his prayers. Whatever we are doing, that is in his mind. He was good he was close to us, myself and Dr. David Jita. We were close together. So after the secondary school, we went home. From Zaria, ABU, I was admitted or whatever, when ATBU and Zaria were merged together. So I went to ATBU. That's where I met him. He had a diploma in one of these environmental jobs. So he was working with the veterinary. So that's where normally I go to the office, we greet, we discuss. In fact, to the extent that at the end, towards the end of a recent, before he died, he had to take me. When I was going to Gombe, I called him, I'm going to Gombe. So he now waited for me on the main road and took me to his house. That is when his wife born his last son, child. That child now is called Doctor, because then I have gotten my PhD. So after we just said with the family, he told me that this is your son. His name is Doctor. We are going to give him Doctor. Because I think I went there, it was just 3 days or 4 days after she gave birth to the child. It's when he died now, and I went to the house to greet them. Then I now knew that the child's name is Doctor. So I told him, when you are in secondary school, I want to know. So he has not finished secondary school by now. So I told his senior brother that when this boy gets to secondary school, if I'm still alive, I want to take over the child so that they can finish. He has a good family. I think they're about 5, about 3 men and two women. The first person, Yusuf, has finished. He's working as a teacher. Then the other lady has just finished. I made effort to see how I can improve her life, but it do not work. But I've not given up. I'm still hoping that if good things happen to me, I will still bring her, because the memory of the lost one is going to be able to help those that are alive. And I've been okay. I've been with the family, we've been connecting. And I think even when we started looking for these pictures, I called him, he sent me the picture I sent to the platform. So once again, I don't have so many things.